Hey everybody, it's James with Rowe-Thrush. Welcome to the Rowe-Thrush Livestream interviews show. Today we will be interviewing Powerhouse 2, but before we do, just a little bit about Rowe-Thrush. This show here, this is designed to give the Grainger sales force information about the suppliers we represent, as well as the products that they provide, the solutions that they bring, and the resources available to you. So who is Rowe-Thrush? We are a manufacturer rep agency that represents just over 60 brands into Grainger, ranging from lighting and electrical, material handling, hand tools, pneumatics, safety and security, plumbing, and heating and air conditioning. We're a little different from most rep agencies because we specialize in Grainger with many great resources available to the Grainger sales force, such as segmented line cards, Graingerized literature for our suppliers, district team calls with knowledge to jump onto district team calls, as well as the Rowe-Thrush SharePoint site, which has many great features available to you there, like all of our literature, our entire library of Graingerized literature, Rowe-Thrush videos, and much, much more. And with that, I want to welcome Greg to the show. Welcome, Greg. How are you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, James. How about you?
I'm doing well. It's a little bit cold up here in Chicago, and how are things there in Virginia for you?
Very strange. Today it's 69 degrees. 3 days ago it was 18. Tonight it's going back to 32. So we're very confused and trying to not die because of the massive weather changes that we're seeing right now.
I'm sure it makes it very hard to pick out what you're going to wear for the day.
Yeah, you just don't want to go out, basically. Stay in.
Yeah, I hear you there. So before we start talking about the company that you work for, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been with Powerhouse 2? What is it that you do there? And what did you do before you came to Powerhouse 2?
Well, I've been with Powerhouse for 12 years. I am the vice president in charge of operations and technical development. Most of my time is spent at Powerhouse doing technical work with engineers and designers who are building new things. So it's very exciting for me to be able to work with people to find new solutions for medical devices and really exciting technology that's really bringing some much needed change into some medical and industrial areas. Before Powerhouse, I spent many years in theatrical technology and marketing, working with the stage and the technology involved with stage, with magic, illusion, stagecraft, and toured with a rock and roll band for 15 years. A lot of technology involved there too. Trained as a studio engineer, and there's a lot of synergy between what I did technologically, electronically previous, and what I'm doing now.
Wow, that's quite a background that you have there, touring with a rock band. I did that a little bit myself in my high school days and whatnot, but it was short-lived. However, I do still have my instrument, an amplifier and everything too. So maybe one of these days I'll have some free time and I'll be able to pick it back up again.
That's absolutely.
So another question about yourself that I want to ask, that I ask everybody that joins us in, and that is, what is your favorite movie and why?
Ooh, boy, that's difficult because there are so many favorite movies. I think of my fiance, who almost every movie is her favorite movie. Um, One of my all-time favorites is Twister.
Hmm.
Bill Paxton. It's an amazing film. I also uh, love Dante's Peak. So there's certainly a thread there with the disasters, but those particular ones have held up because the effects and the technology used to create those effects really was cutting edge at the time. Nobody had
Yeah.
ever seen anything like it, and to be behind the scenes at some of that, which I got to be, you get to really appreciate how it translates to the screen.
Yeah, Twister's a good one. I remember when that came out, I was blown away by the technology that went into it. You're absolutely right. It was cutting edge for the time, and it holds up even still today.
Yeah.
I think it's right now on Netflix, and I see it come up, and I've been meaning to click on it and watch it because that's a movie that I could easily watch over and over and over again and still be entertained. And Bill Paxton, a great actor, was really saddened when he passed away. What, like 5, 7 years ago, something like that. It was unfortunate to hear about that, but still a great.
And the great Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is also no longer with us.
Yes.
It's a very memorable performance for him.
Yeah, yeah. His character was very funny. He provided the comic relief. Another fantastic actor. I loved him in Capote. He did such a great job there, and I mean, just so many other movies with him in particular. So excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Sure.
So now getting into Powerhouse 2, tell us a little bit about what it is that Powerhouse 2 does and the history of Powerhouse 2.
Okay. Well, Powerhouse 2 is a custom battery cell and adapter developer, manufacturer, and distributor. We create custom improvements, should I say, in the power world. If it needs power, we can help. What we bring to Grainger is our Power XP line of alkaline batteries. Many folks don't realize that alkaline batteries really are very, very similar to what they were back in the day of Thomas Edison. They have changed very little since then. The biggest changes that come in the alkaline world, and what we brought to the table, was using different raw materials, better raw materials, and the blend of those materials to create a different outcome for the battery. Longer life, higher capacity to deliver current, and faster recoveries when a current is pulled. We created an entire line based on the AA, which we were challenged by Assa Abloy, another great Grainger supplier, to come up with a battery that would exceed the best battery they ever tested. We were really the only company that could do it. Unfortunately, when you're dealing with mass quantities of output, like the big US manufacturers, there's no room when you're doing 1 million cells an hour to make changes in chemistry. They make what they make, and it's a good product, but their specialty is not change. Their specialty is consistency. Our specialty is change. We can build what our client needs. And in this case, it was for a door lock. They were not happy with the time the battery would last, with how fast it could be drained if it was hit. The door lock is a unique thing that has spread across the 5 million hotel room doors in the US like wildfire. Of course, Assa Abloy is one of the largest lock makers in the world. They were so impressed that we became their go-to battery, and we are the OEM cell that's in every installation worldwide. And many other manufacturers followed suit. Grainger, we brought Grainger to that business. We found out that Grainger did not currently have anyone supplying anything for that portion of the hotel. And with approximately 24,000 hotel clients, it's something that was desperately needed. The hoteliers themselves were having a hard time getting product, a very hard time getting consistent product, even with the internet. Grainger brought a solid supply chain solution with our product that has caught on over the years, and it has been an amazing relationship with Grainger for 12 years. They recently added our AAA, and our CD and 9 volt are available now. The SKUs are in the system now. It is truly a different animal. So that's what we have brought to Grainger.
Yeah, and great point about the alkaline batteries, the AA's, AAA's, and all that. The Grainger SKUs are actually listed down below in the scrolling text that you see there. And yeah, we got our start with the door locks for hospitality, and now we've been able to expand a bit with our batteries as well, the CD 9 volt and all that. And that's a great segue into the next question. That is, besides hospitality, which we've talked about, what other customers or segments would be a good fit for the Power XP brand of products?
Okay. Well, we were excited to the industry, specifically healthcare, took an interest in our battery because the performance of the cell and the cost savings to a manufacturer who are buying hundreds of thousands or millions of cells a year was substantial. To be able to buy a battery not based on the label or the name of the battery, but buy something that has proven to work better and cost less. So healthcare really took off. We've got over 20 million cells out in the healthcare market and growing, and we do not have a single reported failure. That's pretty special. Hospitality caught on with the other cells in the room, smoke detectors, electronic thermostats, any place where there's a battery. At one point, there was as many as 10 batteries in every hotel room. That's changed a bit, but also manufacturing, OEMs who are manufacturing devices have realized that they have specific needs. Instead of designing a device for an available cell, they're free to devise a device that has specific needs, and they can come to someone like us and we can provide them exactly what they're looking for, exactly the performance, exactly the chemistry, without any without having to settle. So OEMs are a large portion of our business. We do gas and oil, handheld devices, any kind of an electronic access system. I mean, I know that there's a large military contingent and government contingent of Grainger reps. Well, all those buildings they visit, they all have electronic access, and all of those doors and systems run on battery. They are all great potentials for increasing the bottom line of your sales every month. Once you get that business, it stays with you for all of these, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the best battery is not seen and not heard. Once you get a piece of business that involves batteries, that's yours. They don't think about it unless there's a problem. So it just goes on and on and on. So we have a lot of different avenues that our cells are being used in.
Great, thank you for sharing that with our audience here. So the next question is, what kinds of CBIs can you help solve, or customer business issues?
Well, you know, the one of the biggest questions that a rep will get when they're talking about what's referred to as an off-brand battery, meaning it's not one of the big names that you see advertised on television. One of the big questions they get is, how do I know this is any good? Because everybody has stories about an off-brand battery, or they think about the batteries included battery that they got with a toy that lasted about 10 minutes. That really is a class of battery that you can buy very cheaply for that very purpose that doesn't last. Mm-hmm. But that has created an environment where people want to know, they want to prove it. They'd like to give it a chance. They'd like to look at something that didn't have a name brand on it. But the the advertising has polluted our minds to the point where many people think that's the only thing they can get. It's it's the only good product out there. And yet millions and millions and millions of cells and applications are using batteries that are built other places, um, that are in critical applications. Computers, battery backups for your phone system. I mean, all kinds of places. Solar storage. They don't have labels. They're just built to spec. When a rep gets that question, we can supply that representative with third-party independent testing that shows that, yes, this is worth giving a shot. Here's how we stack up against all the other big batteries that you know. Now, that is freely given. It was information that we did not pay for. We did not contract. We had nothing to do with it. It was a test done by Intertech Laboratories, one of the most prestigious testing labs in the world. And we got the results. And it's incredible to see how we've stacked up against everyone else. So, the client can have some assurance. It's not just what you say, it's what is. Here it is. This is independent information. We can fit. Our packaging is designed so that KeepStock can put any one of our cells in your KeepStock program or your crib program. Emergency preparedness. You've got to have ready access to batteries. You've got to have some on hand. Batteries do get legs. We had this conversation before, James. Batteries can walk around. I had some here yesterday, but almost everyone in the business world, whether they're in industry or in an office setting, needs to have cells available for the mice, the keyboards, all of the things that are required to run an office day to day. And Grainger can solve that problem. You don't have to run down to the 7-Eleven and pay 5 times as much to get the same thing when you can have it all the time whenever you need it. Also, it's sustainable. The alkaline battery of today is a non-hazardous battery. There are no regulations regarding transport or disposal of a alkaline battery, and that's simply because once an alkaline battery has reached the end of its life, there's nothing in it left that can create a problem for the environment. It literally will decompose back into the soil with the natural elements, magnesium, carbon. It's not going to create a problem for anyone. So, this is why alkaline batteries never go away. You have lithium, which is taking over the world, but yet still alkaline batteries are the #1 selling battery in the world. Why that is simply because the value proposition of an alkaline battery makes more sense. You don't have to pay to get rid of it. It's not bad for the environment. You can use them. They're inexpensive relatively, and they do the job well. So, our program puts the money in the battery, not in a ad campaign. So if you've never heard of us, that doesn't offend us, because we're not interested in being in every store in the world. We're interested in the industrial user, the hotelier, who it just has to work. It must work. It must work long, and it can't cost me a fortune. That's our specialty.
Yeah, that's great. So you guys have a lot of CBIs, cost savings and longevity. That's a great one right there. The sustainable feature, emergency preparedness, as well as KeepStock. So a lot of great solutions there that you can help provide to Grainger customers. Now, putting the Grainger hat on here for a moment, and let's say that we're a Grainger account manager and we're walking into a customer facility. What should we be looking for when it comes to identifying opportunities for Powerhouse 2 or Power XP branded batteries?
Okay. Well, as I said a few minutes ago, the best batteries are not seen and not heard. That also means If you're doing your normal call on your normal client and you're not presently doing any battery business with them or very little, it's not a normal thing to think, where are batteries here? Where are they being used here? When you open your eyes to the way batteries are used in your clients' offices, their factory floors, things start to open up. And if you're not asking, you may not know. I've talked to many a sales rep who had been calling on a manufacturer for years, and the manufacturer makes a product that needs a battery. They never thought to ask the client, can we solve that problem for you? Can we reduce a vendor and make your life easier by providing this for you? We'll provide it at a great price, and you'll always have it. And the answers are almost universally, wow, you can do that? Again, you get that business and you will keep that business because you perform, you are getting supply chain. There are very few elements in a device manufacturer's line that can shut them down. The batteries are one of them. I work with quite a few clients who are making a device that has a cell in it. If that cell is not there when they need it, it stops. The line stops. They can't kit it. They can't ship it. They can't sell it. They can't invoice it. Everything screeches to a halt.
Yeah.
And that's when a not important little thing like a battery all of a sudden becomes hugely important.
Yeah, especially in the healthcare industry too. We were talking about it the other day. You're talking critical moments, and the last thing that you need is a nurse or a doctor needing a device that is battery powered and it not to be able to work. That's the last thing that they want. So knowing that you have a good, reputable brand in those devices is of the utmost importance.
Yes, it is. And that's a challenge for a rep because, as you said, a reputable brand, a known brand. Well, the people that buy that are purchasing batteries at these locations, the healthcare locations or industry or wherever, they are subject to and influenced by the same advertising you and I are, and everybody is. So they believe, just like most others believe, well, I have to buy this brand or I have to buy this brand because they're the only brands that I can depend on, because they told me time and time and again that they are who I can depend on. I don't know you. How can I depend on you? And being that it's a critical path for this person, they're reluctant to want to try. That's why some of these elements that we provide, like the testing data, can help pave the way for some trials, because there's nothing like grabbing it and trying it yourself. There's nothing that can replace that. And we have worked with many, many reps all across the country, getting samples in their hands for their clients that the client can freely test however they want. And when that happens, they prove to themselves.
Yeah, so that's great. Thank you for going through all of that. So being on the lookout for handheld devices, that's a key indicator that there may be an application for some Power XP products, as well as wireless keyboards and mics. Now, when that account manager is at the customer facility, what questions should they ask, and who should they be asking those questions to?
Well, the key questions are going in are, are you using cells? Are you using batteries or battery packs? Where are you using them? Are you having any issues with either procurement or performance? That's an easy identifier. What kind of cells are you using? Are you using alkaline, lithium? Is it a custom cell? Is it a rechargeable cell? What is it? Get some specifics. Now, once you get a feel for what it is that the client is using or they are using batteries, then you need to talk to the right person. And you may or may not be talking to the right person because in some cases, batteries are considered a technical buy. In others, it's, whoever's buying office supplies is ordering batteries. Um, and that's not something to turn your nose up at either, because oftentimes there's large numbers involved. They're buying 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 units a month, every month, and it just never made its way to anybody, in the professional procurement area. So asking those questions and finding out, talking to the right person. If it's a purchasing manager who's buying office supplies, talk to them. If it's a firm where they're doing product development, then talk to a senior designer. The designers will be the ones that are actually responsible for matching a battery to the device that they're creating. You could be in on the ground floor of that and end up with something that's amazing. In industry, procurement people, there's usually a staff, and those people are up for reducing the number of vendors. They would just as soon eliminate a vendor, certainly not have to go overseas by themselves. If they can come to you and you can solve that issue, you take an awful lot out of the accounting room that they're going to be very happy about. In hospitality, you want to talk to the chief engineer. You're going to talk to the guy who is the man who has to go to the rooms and pull bad batteries out of a lock. This man is going to want to hear from you. If you're able to give him something that is being used in tens of thousands of hotels all across the US without problems, also offering him what's unheard of in our industry, we warrant our battery packs to be free from any defects in performance or design for a full year after installation. Nobody does this because once it's out of your hand, you have no idea how it's used. You have no idea what it's done. Anytime a Grainger client has ever had an issue, and there's only been a few times in 11 years, we have been there. We have replaced every single cell, even when it is not our fault or our problem, a bad lock, a bad board in a lock, regardless. We stand behind every product we sell, and Grainger appreciates that. In the medical world, the hospitalist groups, they have a purchasing manager. You want to talk to them. In a custom OEM, the procurement manager or engineering, these are all people that are accessible to you and may very well have a problem that you can solve with the XP cells.
Great, thank you for going through all of that. Hopefully that's helpful. Those last couple of sessions are helpful to Grainger account managers when they're going into their customer facilities and looking to sell some batteries. So when they are in the facility, when I know we kind of already touched base on some of this stuff, maybe some new people have jumped on here. What are some features and benefits that Power XP can bring?
Okay. And James, just FYI, your microphone is breaking up a great deal and echoing. I'm not sure if that's a problem you can solve, but I wanted you to know.
Okay.
Powerhouse is truly a custom house. The majority of our business is custom design, helping people who are in the design process get to the point where they can produce a product, or going in when a product's been designed and is not performing as it was intended. And we can go in and create a battery based on their specifications, maybe improve on it a bit, but basically end up with something that works. When you're with Powerhouse, specifically the XP, you're with a custom cell. This is a cell that isn't like any other cell out there. It doesn't work the same way. Although, yes, it's an alkaline battery, but all alkaline batteries are not the same. They're not the same. And even if you think about the advertising that you see on television, you'll see one particular firm that uses a toy. They don't even show you a battery anymore. They just show you a toy. Do they ever show you a radio or a walkie-talkie or telecom? Do they ever show you high drain devices? No. Another will use hunky firemen and night vision goggles, and they'll never show you a toy. They'll only show you things like those night vision goggles. They're actually telling you what they're best at without telling you. There's a reason they don't show the other things, because if they went head to head with their competitor in those other things, they would find out who does it better. Okay, and they definitely have strong points and weak points. We took the XP concept and went off the best technology we could find, the best specifications we could find, and sought to improve that, specifically for a high demand environment. Because if you have a cell that gets a large amount of current pulled from it, it needs to be able to recover both current and voltage in order to stay viable. That's the problem with many cells today. They all start at 1.5 volts, but how long will they stay there is the question. Because what most people don't realize is that there is an endpoint voltage, 0.9 volts. None of those devices will work anymore. It doesn't matter what they are. So there's not a lot of room there. I mean, if you think 0.9 to 1.5 volts, that's not a lot of room. For a little battery to have to come back after a massive hit on a current. It requires a chemistry that is geared to that. That's what the XP brings. We bring that so that you do not have to worry about it being ready to go again. I mean, if you think about a hotel room door, the room is in hibernation until you hit it with a key, and then the electromechanical system kicks in and it draws a large hit of current out of that battery or the battery pack. You close the door. Oh, you go in, you open it again. Somebody else comes, hits it again. It has to be able to open. It can't take a rest. It can't take a break. It has to come back and come back and come back and last and last and last. So even though the professionals are putting all cells on a preventative maintenance program, and this is also good information for you to know as a rep, because then you know 6 months from now, they're going to replace every battery in every door of this hotel. I want to be there. I want to get that order. This will help you build that relationship over the long term. So the XP cell is unlike anything else, and we welcome people testing it and trying it themselves, because they will find out.
Great, thank you. Thank you for going through that. Hopefully the microphone doesn't cut out too much here going forward. Next question. Do we have any documented value or anything that can help explain cost savings that a customer would have with your products?
Well, yeah, the cost savings, compare with your Grainger rep. If you're currently buying, 1,000 AA batteries a month, ask them to quote you Power XP and see where it comes. You'll see there's a price differential. To justify that, really, it's not a question of quality. It's a question of where the money's being spent. The documentation that you can see on the screen right now is derived from the Intertech test data, tested toward by international standards that we did not set, that the IEC sets for testing cells and battery packs. We're currently in the lab right now testing against some other battery packs that have shown up on the market kind of suddenly. We have seen major manufacturers take notice of this business, the door lock business specifically, door lock packs, and jump in to try and get some of the pie. Not a single one of them has lasted. Um, we have been around the whole time, and we'll be there. You know, if you're trying out someone else's pack, we're still going to be here. When you find out you were better off staying with Powerhouse, or maybe you have never tried it, definitely we encourage you, try it, compare. Um, there's no magic bullet. All of the cells that are made are there are humans involved. They're machine made. No one has a completely zero failure rate. Everyone, doesn't matter who they are, will occasionally find a bad cell or a bad run of cells. Doesn't matter what name is on the battery. Our failure rate is less than 0.1% of all cells that we create have any kind of an issue at all. And that's one of the lowest, if not the lowest, in the industry. Obviously, large concerns won't admit that information. They don't share it. And you'll also notice when you compare specifications among the name brands that that their specifications are not comparable to each other. They have nice, pretty graphs, but the information is different. The testing criteria is different. You can't compare apples to oranges. So our specifications, which are readily available, are not one sheet. A specification from Powerhouse on the XP, you get all 16 sheets, all 16 pages. You get all the real data. Nothing that's made up, nothing that's made up for marketing purposes. We are not afraid to share the real data so that an engineer specifically can look at it and go, this is the real test data. Just like you see on here. We found out how we stack up. We stand behind it.
Yeah, that's quite impressive there. So great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Next is, do you have any new products that you're coming out with here soon?
Well, we're really excited about what is coming next. For about the past 2 years, I have been trying to marry the best in the lithium technology, the long duration secondary cell that has the capability of providing power over a long period of time, to places where it currently isn't being brought. The first iteration of what I call the battery powered generator really came out for the camping industry, and ultimately found its way into some construction applications where you can run a saw out in a field somewhere or something of that nature. But they have all shared pretty much the same characteristics in that they are small in nature. They can't handle big wattage loads. Even though it's available, the battery technology is available to do it. No one has done it. I see an opportunity for everyone who has an office that needs to run, regardless of whether there's electricity or not. I see a need for them to not have to have a smelly, dangerous generator that runs on propane or gas. How'd you like to have a box in your closet that you can pull out and run your office on for 4, 6, 8 hours without any power coming in from the outside? It's clean, it's safe. You can put solar panels outside and recharge the thing if you need to. You can recharge it from your car. There's all kinds of opportunities. The technology exists, it just hasn't all been brought together. What you see here is one of the design iterations that we've been working on. I have another one actually right behind me, which I can show you here. That little guy right there is another iteration of this product that we're actively testing right now. And this, I believe, is something that every business customer with Grainger could use this.
Yeah, and we've definitely had the power go off here at our office numerous times over the years. And when we first heard about this product, instantly I thought, well, we could definitely use that, and it's definitely got a great application elsewhere. We're running a little short on time here, so that's a product that's coming soon. It's not available just yet, and when it is available, we will definitely be working with the Grainger supplier manager that is assigned to us to work on trying to add that in. And in the meantime, it would be available through Grainger sourcing, once it is actually active. So when it comes to any online training, do you guys do anything like that, or webinars or anything that that you want to talk about and let the Grainger sales force know?
Well, we are. I do have a 16-minute training video that is available. It can be downloaded from our Dropbox site. We have distributed it for a couple of years at the Grainger show in our little battery USB drive that we were giving away a few years ago. And in that, if you have one, there's actually a copy of it in there that you can actually go ahead and watch. And I would highly recommend, especially if you're thinking about, selling batteries the first time, is to watch that, because you will get history of the battery, you will get what the applications are, where to look, just real detailed information that is specifically geared to you. When you're done with that 16 minutes, you will know more about batteries than 98% of the clients you sit in front of. You will really impress them knowing all of this information, and it will make you look like an expert. And that is what people are looking for. They're looking for someone who really knows what they're talking about when it comes to a battery. That is available to all of Grainger.
That's great. And that little battery jump drive, it is a little bit bigger than a AA battery, and one time I actually threw it into a pile of AA's, not realizing that it was actually just a thumb drive. And that's a great way to get into the next question. That is, are you attending any trade shows coming up soon?
We are excited about attending the Grainger show again this year. We'll be at booth 2122. We are thrilled to be able to give away samples of our cells every year. We give away case upon case upon case of battery samples to all comers. Since we are a Florida-based company, if we run out one day, we're going to go get them back at the warehouse and bring more in. So by all means, stop for samples, because if you try it as a Grainger rep, if you try it and you become a believer, it's a whole lot easier for you to talk to clients and make them believe.
Yeah, that's great. And yeah, if you're going to stop by the Powerhouse 2 booth, stop early in the morning, because those batteries do grow legs and walk away, those samples. And, everybody likes getting some free battery samples, right? And will you guys have those little jump drives available too, the little battery jump drives too?
Actually, this year, I in lieu of everything that's going on, we created some really, really nice masks. So anyone who needs a mask, we have our little logo. It's very tasteful, printed on there, but it's a simple black mask with adjustable ears. They're really comfortable. And we wanted to do something that was real practical this year, as opposed to something that was, out and out a promotional thing. But if anyone wants those, they just got to let us know. We'll be happy to get more, and we will load them up and get them to you. Absolutely not a problem.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing all of that. So make sure you stop by their booth at the Grainger show, pick yourself up some batteries, possibly a mask as well. Looking forward to it. Definitely getting down to some nice warm weather, and hopefully consistent nice warm weather versus what you've been going through, Greg.
Yeah.
So that wraps things up. So all of our Grainger SharePoint site, Rowe-Thrush SharePoint site users, I should say, that have access, video and audio recording of this live stream will be uploaded to the SharePoint site here later today, available for you to be able to view and download. Also want to mention that our next there we go. Our next live stream interview will be next Friday, February 11th, and we will be interviewing Bridgeport Fittings, getting into the world of electrical fittings and conduit fittings and whatnot. So looking forward to that one. Hope you guys can join us for that. And with that, want to thank you all for watching the show today. Thank you, Greg, for participating as well. Hope you all have a great weekend.
Take care.
Thanks.